Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, April 7th, and I hope everybody's doing well. It's another beautiful day outside. I'm going to show you a couple problems today on how to do synthetic division, dividing polynomials using synthetic division. It's much faster, much easier than long division. So I'm going to try to do two problems to show you how to do this. So we're going to take this polynomial function and divide it by the factor x plus 2. Whenever you do synthetic division, you're just messing with the coefficients to get your answer. It says use synthetic division to find the quotient and remainder. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. So here's how we're going to get the quotient to this problem. The numbers, we're just messing with the coefficients and the numbers, not the variables. So the number in front of the x to the fourth is 1, -2, 3, -1, and 4. And when we do synthetic division, you go down, you go over, make an L shape. When you divide by a factor, x plus 2, we're just not dividing by 2, we're dividing by the factor x plus 2. You have to go opposite sign when you divide by a factor. So x plus 2, what am I going to divide by? The opposite of that, I'm going to divide by a -2. Whenever you do synthetic division, you bring down the first guy in the ball game. The first guy in the ball game here is a 1. And then you multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add until you finish up. So 1 times -2 is -2. Add. -2 plus -2 is -4. Multiply. -4 times -2 is a +8. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 times -2 is -22. -1 plus -22 is -23. -23 times a -2 is a +46. Add 46 and 4 is 50. I'm done doing the synthetic division process. Whenever you get done, this last number here will always be the remainder, making this guy the constant, making this term the first cos, this one the second cos, and this one the third cos. So the quotient, the answer to this problem, is 1x cubed minus 4x squared plus 11x minus 23. And then what do you do with the remainders? You tack them on to the end of your answer and put them over what you divided by. And what did we divide by? We divided by the factor x plus 2. So that right there, x cubed minus 4x squared plus 11x minus 23 plus 50 over x plus 2 is the quotient to this division problem. It's the answer to the division problem. Let me do one more. The other thing I need to say is whenever you take a polynomial and divide it by something, whatever it starts off with, if it starts off with x to the fourth, it has to go x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared, x to the first, and then the constant. If any of those terms get left out, you got to put a 0 in that slot to hold the place value. I'll show you what I mean by that on the next problem. So let's say we take 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 4, and I want you to divide that by x minus 1, by the factor x minus 1. So it goes x cubed, x squared. Notice there's no x to the first term. So I'm going to have to put a 0 in that slot to hold the place value of that slot, and then 4. So whenever I do my synthetic division, I'm going to go 2, -5. There is no x to the first term, so I have to put a 0 to hold that place value, and then 4. I do my big L, and then I'm dividing by the factor x minus 1. Since I'm dividing by a factor, I go opposite sign of what's there. I'm not going to put a -1 out here. I'm going to put a +1 out there. So this is how I set up my synthetic division. You bring down the first guy in the ball game. The first guy in the ball game in this case is a 2. and then you multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add until you finish the problem. 1 times 2 is 2. Add. -5 plus 2 is -3. 1 times -3 is -3. Add. 0 plus -3 is -3. Multiply. 1 times -3 is -3. Add. So 4 plus -3 is 1. This guy on the end will always be a remainder, making this guy the constant, making this guy first cuz, making this guy second cuz. So my answer to this problem is 2x squared minus 3x minus 3, and then plus 1, that's a remainder, and we're going to put the remainder over what we divided by, and we divided by the factor x minus 1. So this is the answer to this math problem, and we use synthetic division to get the answer. And believe me, this method of synthetic division is much easier than long division. So, and this synthetic division is very important in this chapter 4.